So before I start talking about having to make my house bigger, I thought I'd show you the progress on my old tiny house. As you know, this was our camper that we built when we were nomads, and I've been trying to tear it down, but we've gotten trapped by terrible weather, so I haven't really worked on it much. I mean, I've made pretty good progress on it, don't get me wrong, but I just haven't gotten much further on it. It's either raining or sub-zero temperatures or snow. And when it's not raining, it is so muddy and slick around here that it's, I don't want to say dangerous, but unsafe for me to work. I started sliding around the other day and I had a piece in my hand and I threw it, fortunately, to get it away from me, and I slipped and fell. So I thought, you know, I'm going to wait until better weather. I mean, I don't want to wait until springtime, because once springtime comes out, then the snakes will be back up underneath it. So I'm trying to get it done, but I'm not going to risk wrecking my vehicle, getting this to the dump, or breaking it, or twisting an ankle, or the cold weather and getting hypothermia and frostbite. But it's getting there. Carolyn says, just be patient. I've been patient. My subscribers aren't patient. They think everything has to be done today. What's funny is, I know the people, I don't know if I want to say this, there are a lot of people in my comment section who complain about their aches and pains. And I also look around and I see everybody's pretty unhealthy. I'm trying to be polite here. But then they see me and they're like, you're lazy. Well, what have you been doing for the last 10 years? Sitting in my chair. There's this prepper who talks about how great he is, but there's no way he's going to be able to do anything when SHTF happens, because he's just way out of shape. So, as you know, we built this tiny house. I think we're coming up on 4 years, maybe 3 years. I guess we've been here 4. We lived in that truck camper for the first almost full year, maybe 10 months. So we built this, and I had showed a lot of historical videos, compilation videos of the build, but those videos haven't been doing very well, so I stopped making those. I made a video telling you I was going to stop making them. There's a lot of reasons I think I wanted to build a tiny house. I've spent a lot of money in my life, let's put it that way. And what do I got to show for it? I really don't have much to show for it at all. You know, I bought a house before, a full-size house. Where's it at? You know, somebody else owns it. I just don't see why I'd want to be in debt to buy another house or a mobile home or something fancier or build something bigger. The reason we went with 200 square feet, well, less than 200 square feet, it's like 197 square feet, was because we didn't have to follow code. And I know that there are law-abiding citizens that believe you have to follow code. It's against the law not to follow code. Well, I don't have to follow code because there is no code for a house under 200 square feet. So how am I breaking the law? But, you know, the safety-minded people, they want to make sure that it's safe. Well, the only person it's going to hurt is me and Carolyn, and we're okay with it. We're not going to sell it. No one else is ever going to be in it, ever. So these are the decisions that we have made so we can live in a tiny house that we wanted to build for $5,000. Now think about this. I have a brand new home for $5,000. Now you could go and get a Home Depot shed, probably for about the same price. But you still have to spend money to fix it up. The plumbing and the wood stove and the insulation and the walls and the interior, the bed. When I say $5,000, I mean everything. The shelves, the shower, all of it, the plumbing, the insulation. Carolyn bought everything, well, not everything, but a lot of the stuff on Facebook Marketplace. As a matter of fact, I remember when we calculated, I just finished the porch deck. And we came in like, I don't know, it was 5,200, you know, it was just over 5,000. And I was feeling kind of guilty because I really wanted to hit that $5,000 budget. But even the wood stove, we could have spent $2,800 on the wood stove, but we found one for $300 that was basically new. And the guy bought it, instantly realized he didn't like it, and sold it for a lot less than what he bought it for. So that was the biggest reason why we wanted to build a tiny house. Another thing about the tiny house is, I don't know, there's a lot of things about the tiny house. One, minimalization. I just read an article somebody sent me talking about how the administration is going to increase the requirements of stoves, cook stoves, kitchen stoves. And I'm not going to get into percentages, but if it's an electric stove, it's got to become, I don't know, 20% more efficient. If it's a gas stove, it's got to become 10% more efficient, whatever it was. And it's going to raise the cost of the stoves. And of course, there's a lot of people complaining about how he just got to raise that cost of everything. And of course, the administration saying, well, you're not going to have to pay as much in utility bills, and which kitchen stoves don't use that much in utilities. So it's not like you're going to save more than what you're having to spend to buy it. I'll never have to spend more than, and I'm really pushing the numbers here, $200 for my stove. Camping stove. And yeah, when it goes out, oh darn it, it went out. But we have a camping stove. I actually have a spare. We bought a spare. We were buying cheap ones, and we thought that was a good idea. Decided, no, we're just going to buy a Coleman stove. Now I used to use this one to can my chicken, but when that one burned up, we put this one up here. Now Carolyn has started cooking in the camper, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more in a minute. When she started using this one, I bought another one for canning. Well, now it's just in storage because she's using the camper. I use the camper for canning. So the only thing we use this for is to make coffee. It's a lot easier to just run out here, put a pot of coffee on. You can hear it percolating. Well, sometimes you can hear it percolating. And you can see the steam going in front of the window. And so when the timer goes off, we just run ahead and grab it. A little bit more convenient to run all the way to camper to get coffee. Very inexpensive, and I don't have to worry about the government restricting these kind of things. And if they do restrict it, well, I'll find something else to use. So minimalization. Everything we do is multiple times cheaper. Everything. I mean, you pay, let's say $5,000 for a stove. I pay $50 for a stove. Doesn't have an oven, but Carolyn does a lot of stuff out here. She cooks out here when she needs an oven. At least she used to. Now she has a camper, but she can cook out here. This was an oven. She made this into an oven. We don't need a lot, and I'm not sure what I can do to convince people. You're coming to my channel for a reason, and I know it's not an entertaining channel. I'm sure of it. So why are you here? Well, we're here to learn things. But to suggest that we live in a tiny house, oh my goodness, we can't do that. So we also bought the camper recently. Now we were thinking about buying a camper, nothing this big. We were wanting to buy a smaller camper, something we might be able to tow behind the little 4-cylinder truck. But Carolyn's son wanted to move down here for a while, so we got this. It was kind of an emergency. And Carolyn's been using it quite a bit. I was in here yesterday, made a video. It's a lot more to have to deal with. And it instantly put more work on us. Of course, now we have mice coming in here all the time. We don't have mice up there for some reason, but mice come down here, so you gotta lay traps. That's something you gotta monitor all the time. Then we think about heating this. There is no way we could heat this efficiently at all. It would just be terrible. The tiny house has 6-inch walls, lots of insulation, and we've talked about insulating the ceiling more. We'll go back and forth on that. But there is an option to be able to insulate it more. There's nothing you could do to this. It's probably got 2x2 studs, so I mean it's real small, so you can't really get much insulation in this at all. I know when we tore down that mobile home, it had 2x2 studs. So even when we bought a mobile home, probably modern day mobile homes are better, but older mobile homes, trying to insulate that, it's just hard to heat. So you're using a ton more firewood, or if you're heating with gas and electric and that kind of stuff, you may not be able to heat it. I don't know if Carolyn's son would have actually been able to live in here in the winter. I mean, you can see Carolyn's got plastic on the windows just to kind of seal it up for the winter so she could cook down here. But I'm not sure he could have lived down here. We had that little buddy heater. We talked about getting a blue flame heater. Buddy Heaters make blue flames also. And that was like 10,000 BTUs. But it would have cost a fortune to heat this place. And of course, you wouldn't be able to live in the whole house, the trailer. It would have just been too much to heat. So let's say he decided to close up everything and just live in the living room here. So now he has less space than our tiny house. I'm not sure how that makes sense. I'm told regularly in the comments section that we got to have a bigger place. And so I just got 2 new comments telling me that we have to have a bigger place. One person said, "You need to do what my cousin did." And I'm like, no, I don't know your cousin. Why would I want to do what your cousin did? He bought a camper until he could build himself a 400 square foot house. Why didn't you do that? Well, I didn't do that because it doesn't make sense. First of all, I didn't need to save money to build a tiny house. We spent $500 a month. Kind of. I mean, some months we spent more, some months we spent less. And we were able to build that tiny house in a year. Secondly, we spent $1,000 on this. So that's an additional $1,000 that had we had to have it so we could build a house that we would have had to have bought to pay for. I don't consider this as a cost to our lives because we did it just to have for visitors and different things. It was just a little nicety, kind of a toy. And Carolyn really enjoys being down here. I'm not trying to make excuses about the camper, but we don't have to have it. When people tell me that they have to have bigger, have to have more, I've went without for so long that I don't even understand what they're talking about anymore. I mean, I used to live like you with all the things, but I was always broke. We were always trying to figure out how to make money. We were always trying to figure out how to pay the bills. And you're always paying more in interest, and you can't convince people of that. We are a indebted society. And they seem to think that the only way to survive is to be in debt. I'm much happier. I don't even know how to explain it. I am 1,000 times happier not having the stuff and not being in debt. I don't know what in life I needed so badly that I had to be in debt. But I was in constant debt. Buying toys, buying gifts, buying junk. I don't have any of that stuff that I was in debt for. I don't even know what I was in debt. All these credit cards, I have no idea. But now, if I want to go buy something like a camper or a firearm or a lawnmower, we bought that John Deere. We have enough now that we could just go and buy it. We don't have to try to figure out how we're going to clear up a credit card or save money. We don't have to save money. We just go do it. And we don't make any money. We're, as far as the government or anybody else is concerned, we're well below the poverty line. But I've never been richer financially or emotionally in my life. So how does this make sense? I make less money than I've ever made. I have more money than I've ever had. I've got less stress than I've ever had. And I'm happier than I've ever been. How does any of that make sense? Because if you listen to society, I'm not supposed to be happy. The only way to be happy is to have a big house, big car, big stuff, lots of stuff. And why? When I die, am I taking it with me? Where does it go? Who gets it? How does that work? So I don't have anything to worry about. The nice thing is my property was $4,200, an acre and a half. You vision what's going to happen when you die. Well, I don't suspect, I don't have anybody around. Carolyn will probably die before me, so I'll die, and the house will probably just sit here. The taxes probably won't get paid, so the government will get it back, and somebody will get it for cheap again. But I will have used it up. I've lived my life. I'm happy here, and I don't have to worry about people telling me what to do. I know that the commenters seem to think that that's a requirement. When you get in the comment section, you got to tell the YouTuber what to do because he's just not smart enough to figure it out on his own. But I'm telling you, I have figured it out. And I sure wish more people could. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about canning. So if I can inspire you to truly be happy when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.